It's loading and recording started. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Tu Novio podcast. This is episode 81, and I'm super excited because we're going to be talking about three things that are one of my three favorite life topics ever: music, love, and community. And I have someone here that I honestly believe embodies all three and more, obviously. But I wanted to dedicate this episode to someone that not only wants to pursue their passions, but maybe they're a little afraid, like, ooh, like, should I bring people on? Or might be a little scared of involving others in their passion projects or involving others in sharing their ideas, dreams, and thoughts. Because I really do believe that if your dreams scare you, that's a good thing, but also share that with people because the burden is not solely on you. So, everyone, we're going to do a round of applause. I have a dear friend here, entrepreneur, creator, all of the above, multi hyphenate, Oliver Lastname. Woo!
Yeah, round of applause. What up,
I'm like, where's
Carmen?
the clap in the back?
Hey, SWAT cam. We'll do a SWAT cam on
Right, we need one of
you.
those.
Thank
Okay,
you for having
Oliver
me.
last name is in the building, but I want to take it back because I know a lot of people have definitely seen me share, a lot of your work on my stories, whether it's
Mhm.
with Esteem or your favorite late night mix, or even some of your music that you've produced or made. But I want you to take us back because a birdie told me that your name is not Oliver and your last name is not last name. So take us back to who are you? Who are you?
Hey, well, birth name Jeremy, and I am a creative. I'm a creative. I'm a helper. I'm a friend, father, um, partner, brother, son. And that's truly who I am. And I think with that being said, with all those areas in my life, it's like how can I assist and how can I help?
Mm-hmm.
So again, a helper.
Yes, a healer too through I think music and your passions, but I know originally you're not from Los Angeles, you're from Indy, and I know you rep it hard, not only, through your travels, but your friends
Yeah.
even come out here to support you. So talk to us a little bit about, your upbringing in Indy, as, a kid and a creative. Like how did the creative spark happen? Because I know for a lot of people, we're just playing games or out in the like recess, we're doing our thing. So how did all that start and how did you figure out that you're like, wow, I'm really into some creative endeavors?
Yeah. I think for me, I know it started at the age of 13. Prior to that, I had ideas with myself that I would kind of like create in my room and kind of like I would say like action figures. Like I loved action figures to about 13, and just the fact that you could like create stories with them and what you could do
Mm-hmm.
with them, like the characters that we grew up seeing on TV. I'm actually able to create stories around them. So that's where I first built my love for storytelling. But then from that, it was when I actually fell in love with music at the age of 13, and started a record label with just friends around down the street from me. And that was an opportunity for me not only to showcase uh, my words and my experience, but also too to help my friends showcase their experiences as well. So with that, it was always something of like, okay, if I have something to say, I know someone else does. And so I not only want
Mm.
to say what I want to say, but then it's like, how can I create a platform for someone else? Because I never want to be above anyone else in the sense of I can't do it. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like, okay, whatever I'm doing, I want to make sure that there's people around me that can do it as well, and we can build it together and understand it together, and we can all have a sense of purpose, within that. Yeah,
It's
but take it.
crazy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it's crazy that you had that mindset as a 13-year-old. You know what I mean? Like that's like basically our teen years. We start rebelling, we start maybe doing different things, figuring out who we are. So the fact that you started a record label, were you influenced by like other great people in your community, or was this just something that was like, I need to do this for myself and my friends?
No, I saw the impact that Master P had on my uncle growing up. I saw the impact Jay-Z had on my brother growing up, and I saw, but I didn't see it not from an artist standpoint. I saw it from like how they were able to do that as an artist, and I think that
Mm,
was most inspiring for me was it wasn't what they did, it was how they did it. And so I think that's what the idea really hit. And then when I saw Bow Wow on 106 in Park, I'm like, okay, come on now, this game over now. I don't even have to
mhm.
be an adult to do this. I thought I had to be an adult, so I was just playing and being prepared for when I became an adult. But when I saw Bow Wow, I'm like, okay, man, I can be 12 years old, dude. This is crazy. So that's where it all
Right.
started. Yeah, thanks, little Bow. Thanks to little Bow Wow. Yeah,
I love that. Shout out to Bao.
yeah,
I also wanted to like ask too, because like for a lot of us that come to LA, there's a lot of people that are not from LA, not from California. This city in general houses so many people from all over the world. So, what brought you in a mindset to be like, you know what? I did my time in Indy. I know I've heard from your friends that you're like a local superstar creator from back home. So, you did what you did back home. What made you be like, you know what? I'm going to leave. I'm going to pack. I'm going to maybe explore other ventures, because not a lot of people know that you are a filmmaker as well. Like, did film kind of allow you to leave your hometown?
yeah. Film has allowed a lot for me actually, and yeah, it was really it was first it was New York. So from Indianapolis to New York, and for me it was just the opportunity to explore and try new things. I was in Indianapolis filming from when I began in 2009 all the way until 2000, what was that, 16. And so
Mm-hmm.
I kind of shot films, shot commercials, and then I shot some music videos as well, a bunch of music videos. And so I just wanted to go to another city and extend myself there and see how I could create in New York, what I could bring to New York. And the focus for me in New York was like, how can I shoot more commercial work? How can I shoot commercials out there and paint the town with commercials from my vision?
Mhm. Was
So
New York kinda scary for you, or were you always kinda like, "You know what? I wanna do it. Imma do it." 'Cause I know you personally, you have a very, like, chill, persona to you.
yeah,
I've never seen you, like, ever be, like, scared or, like, nervous or have, like, a look of, like, "Oh, I don't know." You play a very, like, "It's chill, like, it's gonna be okay." But
yeah.
were there ever moments when you made that trek to New York, like, "Oh, man, I'm in a city full of a bunch of other people that are also grinding, hustling."
Mhm.
New York, from what I've heard, is really like a make it or break it type of city. How did you survive there?
It was much like it was moving out to LA, but for that, and that was the first time making that move, but it was for me, it was community. I
Mm,
had a community that I had built from Indianapolis and friends that had moved out there. So they already kind of had their footing, and when I landed, they were there to really show me around and show me what was this and what was that, and I was able to like learn from their experiences how to navigate coming from Indianapolis, which was cool. Um,
mhm,
and so that really allowed me like the opportunity to see get a faster uh, look at what New York has to offer through the experiences of my friends. So I use that opportunity. Hey, wherever you were going, I'm going, just so I can understand what these different areas were, and I can actually meet new people in this area and expand my reach within the city quicker, and understand things a lot quicker. So that was my approach. So scared and nervous. I think initially, I think what it was being scared and nervous was before I actually made the decision to do it. That's all
mm,
the nervous feeling. Am I going to do it or am I not? And
right.
once I made
You're like, "Really?"
yeah, once I made the decision to like, and I think that was like the social pressures of like family, friends, leaving a whole nother city, um, creating a whole new schedule of what that looks like as a father, you know,
Mm,
as a son, as a brother. Those were the things that really came to mind for me that were important. So I think scared, nervous, it was more so before I figured those things out, before I actually made the decision to actually figure out what those relationships would look like. Because for me, I'm like, oh, I'm good. I've already know it. I don't say this out loud, but if it was up to me, that's what I was saying.
Right.
Yeah, if it was up to me, I would. And then, because saying that, it's like then you just go do it. But saying in my head, I was like, yeah, if it's up to me, I would go to New York. And then it's like, okay, well now you got to deal with those relationships that would affect your move to New York. So once I, had those conversations, the rest was history. Nothing
I
else to
love
talk
that.
about. Hit the plane.
Yeah.
It is wild though, because I'll always kind of make the move to new cities within like 2-3 week span of thinking about it. And
Hmm.
then I get off the plane. I'm like, well, okay, you just moved to New York. Okay, wow, you just moved to LA. Okay, yeah, you moved.
Right.
Wow,
Like
that's
you're
wild.
really here. You're
Yeah,
really here.
yeah, 100%. So it's always interesting when that happens. So it's pretty cool.
I love that, especially if, for people that will listen to this episode. If you're thinking of moving away from your hometown, away from what's normal and what is comfortable, I 1,000% agree to do it. It is scary. I do get that not everyone maybe has friends or family members in that other city. Whether you do or you don't, I still think you should do it. You really never know who you're going to meet. And like Oliver said, the community aspect is so important, because I'm sure when you moved to New York, you did have, your friends from Indy, but you also made friends in New York that you never knew. And,
Hmm.
you created your own community there. So I think that's super important. I want to ask you if, the film and everything that you were doing in New York, when did that like switch and you were like, okay, I've done my time in New York. I want to move to LA. Like, were you doing music in New York and then you were like, okay, I think I need to take that to LA?
Well, since I've started directing, I kind of like put my music on the back end, and I've like been making beats on my iPad. Oh my god, since I've had an iPad, but I haven't put anything out. It was just like just stuff I've kind of just done um, when I was in like my bedroom, just making a track or something like that, but never did anything with it. Um,
Hmm.
so it's always been there, but it was this move to LA and COVID and being shut down with productions and not having anything to shoot that really allowed me to actually get like that quiet passion of mine.
So
Uh,
you were in New York when COVID started?
yeah, I was in New York when COVID
Oh my
began.
God, you were in the ground zero. You were
Oh
like
yeah,
right in the middle.
yeah. It was the my birthday. The next day is when it shut down. The day after my birthday. So I had all
Oh,
these
wow.
plans of like what I was going to do around the city and everything, and it's like nope, that all got snatched the next day. Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. Yeah, like I was. Yeah, it was my birthday weekend, so I was excited. Treat myself here, do this, do this.
Right.
It all got snatched. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so walk us through that. You are experiencing COVID for the first time. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows the industry is going to be shut down, and it's kind of ironic because you're in the film industry. That's one of the industries that got hit the hardest.
Hmm.
Film, entertainment, big productions. And I know you mentioned music has always been there in your life, but I do have to ask you before we even like come to the LA topic. Was film bringing in the money for you, and that's why you think maybe the music kind of you had to keep it in the back burner for a minute because you were grinding out, you were making money, you were still, honing your craft. But I always ask people too, because I've noticed people with that are multi hyphenate, they always start off with one really cool skill, and it just so happens that they have all these other skill sets that are like, well, I didn't get to really grow it yet, but I always had that in the back of my pocket.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It was. Yeah, money was coming in through the film and still is my primary source. But with that, it was wanting to. I didn't have anything to say. I didn't have anything to say
Mm.
musically at that time, and the thing that I had to say and express myself was really through visual And that's what I love so much about music is it's not a necessarily a visual medium, so it allows you when you do express it visually in any capacity, it's automatically like taken to a whole nother world that you wouldn't think or experience in a sense, as opposed to film, where film is like, okay, you kind of see something visually already. So you already have visual
Right.
cues or representation of what it is. But with music, it's different. So that, that's why I'm excited about it because it gave me an opportunity now to actually finally explore all of my interests all in one. Because you can shoot so
Mm-hmm.
much just with one sound that you hear, either a book or a movie or a music video or packaging, a design, anything, just based off of one note that you hear from music. So that's what I love about it. It allows
I
me to
love
do
that.
everything. Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
cool.
and you really are like multi-hyphenate, you and a lot of people out here. Like I love that you express your gifts and you really put it out in the world. So I know we made it to New York, COVID happened. So what got you to be like, I'm gonna leave and go to LA? I know this isn't even a crazy thing because a lot of people I've met out here, they moved to LA during COVID. A lot of people moved during COVID.
Hmm. It was for me. It was I was I guess that's where the love part comes in. It was part breakup, part community.
Mm.
Part breakup, New York, part community out here. I was recently out here, what, June of that year, directing a project. That was the first one of the first projects I had done during COVID, and
That brought
was
you
out
out to LA?
here. Yeah, it came. Yeah, I
Okay.
came out here, and that was my second time out here. That
Mhm.
June to the production, and then 75% of the people were from Indianapolis on production on the set, which was cool. Some of them were people I worked with before, some were people I had never met before. So it was cool to see all of us come together in one space, which was something I hadn't necessarily found out in New York, like such a big pool of community all together, working
Mhm.
on one particular task. I had one friend from Indy right here, one friend from Indy out here, one friend, but we were never all together. And that was what was cool and exciting about moving out here, potentially, was that. And and just being back in New York, relationship wasn't going well, and so I decided to end it. And I was like, hey, this is an opportunity for a new start. It's like, what do you want to do with it? And with that, it was like,
Mhm.
I want to try LA. I want to try LA
Yeah.
out. Give it a try. So it was yeah. So that's how I made my way out here, which has been cool and interesting. Did not expect to be doing the music, and especially as deep and as involved as I am now with that. Didn't see that coming at all with the move out here, but I'm grateful for it.
I love that you've kind of just been rolling with the punches, but also kind of just, I feel like living in your truth and purpose. Because I know, life does happen, disappointments happen, heartbreak happens.
Mhm.
You could have stayed in New York, but something in you was like, you know what? I'm going to lay this to rest and start a new chapter over. Sometimes, moving to a new city, that's like the best way to not only like grow out of a situation, but grow for yourself. So you
Mhm.
got to LA, and were you kind of like already exploring music, or you were like, well, now's the time, I'm going to dedicate more time to music? I know we're still in COVID. How did all of that happen?
Yeah, that happened in Westlake, Los Angeles, California. Just having
Shout out to
days
Westlake.
like having nights just to sit there and play on my iPad, different sounds from the move out here, and from there it was conversations we were having with my roommates, just about, we were all from Indianapolis, so we were all just sharing our experience from not only being from Indiana, but also too now being from Indiana out here in LA. So it was a common thread that we all shared, and so it was just nights that we would just spend talking, and from that
Hmm.
I would record them, just because like we were saying some powerful things, and I was like, this needs to be captured. And from that,
That's the
like,
filmmaker side of you. You're like, let
yeah,
me put this on video.
yeah, yeah. I start hearing their cadences and their voices. I'm like, whoa, this is gospel. Like, we're actually
Mhm.
saying things that could help people. We're actually having conversations that can help people. And I know, it's resonating with us, so I think it could touch other people. That was just the thought. Um, and so with that, it was okay. Let's make a track. Let's make a track, and let's see if some vocals, how we can add some their vocals, our vocals to this conversation, to this music. And then it was and I had a bunch of them. I would just share it amongst us, our text group. But it wasn't until I made the Positive record with my
I was
girl
just about to
Asia.
ask you. I was
Oh
like, was that your
my god!
first track? The first
Oh
one
my
with like
god! That changed everything. No, it was wild. It was wild because it went from this is
let's
just
get
fun and share
positive.
with my friends. I hope, yeah, yeah. No, at first it was
Yay.
this is for my friends. I hope they like it. And then
Mhm.
I made Positive, and I was like, whoa, this one has to come out.
Mhm.
This one will help
Yeah.
people, and that's what changed everything. And my mind hasn't been the same since. It was yeah, it just hasn't been the same since. Once that was made, I realized the importance of what it was we were doing, and how it can help and heal and help people navigate. That record was cool, and that record did a lot for me.
Mhm.
So to be able to have it out in the world and so many people resonate with it is it's been cool. But I guess I'll have to say it came from the feeling that I had in the very beginning of hearing it. It's like, okay, when you know.
Yeah.
I knew that one. I was like, yeah, people need to hear this one because I
I'm
needed to
not
hear it.
surprised that your
Mm.
first record is called Positive. I'm like, let's get positive.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that when Oliver Lastname was born, or was that record? It didn't have a title as you, the producer, Oliver Lastname.
yeah. Thank you for asking it. Actually, yeah, that was when Oliver Lastname was born because I'm like, okay, this has to go out. I have no name. I don't want to necessarily put it under Jace.
Mhm.
Um, and so I'm like, okay, yeah, I need a name for it. So all of my films, or the majority of them, has Oliver in it as just paying homage to my son. His name, for his name. So I always make sure I take a clip of that name and put that in the character's name somewhere. So I was like, okay, well, Oliver last name. Let me let me use Oliver. Let me do that. Let me
Mhm.
continue this. And then I couldn't think of a better last name. So I was like, last name. There you go. I knew when it came to the music, I wanted to have a last name, but and I couldn't think of a better one. So here we are.
I love that story. Like now I know. I'm like,
Yeah,
wow. Everything like has a purpose, and you
yeah,
are a purposeful person. So I know, you mentioned Oliver Lastname was born, Positive was born. You have, LA here. You're building your community in LA. What were some of the maybe culture shocks between East Coast and West Coast? Do you feel like the West Coast has nurtured a bit more of your music community side? Or it was just totally different, just a different time period between New York and LA?
another great question because I actually think about that quite often. I'll say a culture shock for me really is, and it's not till you move out here that I think you fully understand it. Because I think anything before is just, oh man, look at the trees, look at the mountains. But it is the traffic and the distance. And, when it comes to New York, that's another thing where it's like when it comes to New York, you kind of dress knowing that you're going to be like jumping in about 4 or 5 different functions on the way home. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Sorry about that. Yeah, in New York, you're gonna be getting dressed to jump in about 4 or 5 functions in one at one time, as opposed to here. Sorry about that. As opposed to here, you're gonna be. yeah, you'll in New York. I'm sorry, let me take that back. In New York, you'll dress to jump in about 4 or 5 functions because you're going from, you may go from working somewhere, maybe at a coffee shop, to then going to making your way up to um, the, you know, go hang out with someone somewhere, and then you go to a bar, and then you may even go to a park or something like that. So you're going to be in different spaces at one time. Sorry about that. Can you
Oh
hear
no,
me?
you're good. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
there you go. Do you need me to take that back?
Um, a little bit, just a little bit, so I can edit it.
Okay, I'm sorry, my mother.
Oh no, no worries.
Yeah. But yeah, in New York, you fall into about 4 or 5 functions just on your way home from work or from a coffee shop, because like there's so like you'll just take the train all the way down, and then you'll just start taking the train all the way back up, or you'll just walk back up. So it allows so much along the way of getting back home.
Hmm.
So that's what New York allows, as opposed to here. I leave once and I'm not, I go to one place and then I'm home because I'm driving, so I'm not
Right,
stopping at multiple spots, plus traffic. So plus the route it takes to get there, so for me it is go somewhere, I'm out and back. But
right,
New
yeah.
York, New York, I was going from place to place, stop to stop. Um, and it was cool. It made your nights longer, you know.
I love that. Well, I
Mhm.
love that you are able to have a different community in all these different cities. Indy obviously is home, so you have your core community that keeps you grounded from where you came from. You went to New York, that's a totally different like ball game. And then
Mhm.
coming to LA, I mean, it's still very fast paced, maybe not as fast as New York, but it's still moving. So the fact that, you have made connections in these cities definitely has played a role in your business ventures, and the way that you one network and put your projects out there. So I think that's very, very smart for people that are moving to different cities. Like, it's so important to make community there. You really never know what other city you'll end up with or what projects you're going to work on that you're going to be like, hey, well, I actually lived in New York. Let's connect you with someone there. I actually come from like LA. Like, let's do something. So right now that you're talking about community, how did your favorite late night mix happen? Can you give like a quick intro of what your favorite late night mix is? Because I know I've shared it on my stories, but I think it's best for it to come from someone that knows it, breathes it, lives it, and it is part of your life. So, what is your favorite late night mix? What is the purpose of the show and everything?
So your favorite late night mix is a weekly visual radio show giving you personal development through entertainment. So essentially what we're doing is we have 3 DJs, including myself, and then we have 2 of my friends and a live performer. And then we have 3 actually curious questions, which is a empathy based card company from my boy Michael Tennant. And what it is it just allows people an opportunity to not only connect with themselves but the people around them through the show. And the purpose of it is, when you come to your favorite late night mix, we want you to feel the best that you've ever felt when it came to being yourself. That's what's important
Mhm.
to me. How can you come to a space that allows you to truly be who you are, where you are, and when you are? And, we'll embrace that. And we do it, through the music, we do it through the dance, we do it through the conversations. But then most importantly, we just do it through genuinely wanting to know and see
Mhm.
you grow. And how that came about was, taking it back to just, you know, um, when I was putting out my music, I was going live every week, pretty much every night, um, playing remixing people's tracks over my beats.
This was
And
just you in your apartment? You
yeah,
were
this
just
was
going live?
yep. I was
Oh,
going live
wow.
on Facebook doing that in 2021 when my album had just dropped, and people really started to like it. People really started to like it, and then at that point, I couldn't keep up with enough beats to service all these people with going live as
Wow.
often. So then I started going out and looking for other, look for other house tracks and wanted to find ways to flip those with some of the R&B and hip hop songs that I grew up loving. It's like, okay, how can I remix and give this a flip on the fly? Uh,
Mhm.
and so I started doing that, and then I did that in 2021, and then 2022 was just inconsistent. It wasn't every Friday. It wasn't. It was just when I felt like it, or whenever I was like, oh man, let me jump on live. It was supposed to be Fridays, but it wasn't. I didn't decide that it was going to be every Friday yet.
Mhm.
In 2000, the end of 2022, I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna go. I challenged myself. I'm gonna go every Friday in this year without missing a Friday.
You just
And I was like,
decided like this the year I'm gonna go every Friday.
because I was kind of like starting to get on myself for like not being being so inconsistent with the Fridays. So I'm like, this is something you actually enjoy. Start taking it a little bit more serious. So I just gave myself
Mhm.
that challenge, and I was like, okay, well, I travel with filming. I may not be available some nights. So I was like, I can't do this by myself. There's no way. And so then
Right.
I was like, okay, well, let's get my DJ friends involved and they can come help spin and things like that. And then I was tested in March of last year when I had to go film in Chicago. And I was like, you know what? I said every week. So I was like, hey, Court, take a key to my apartment. You got it. Make sure everybody gets in. You know how to run it. Let's get it set up. And it was actually interesting watching that live. As soon as I got off the airplane, I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm taking this serious now.
Wow. Isn't that crazy that it took
Yeah,
a
that was
business
wild.
trip? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that was wild. I got off the plane and saw them live in my apartment on the show. And
Yeah.
Keo and T1 was DJing and Court was I think spinning or hosting. I think that's when we first started hosting and Keo
Mhm.
actually performed that night, which was first live performance we had on the show. So shout out to Keo for that. But yeah,
Yes.
that's where it started. And we haven't stopped since. Because now I guess at this point it's just life now. It's just what we do every week.
And I do want to congratulate you because you just your team just celebrated 1 year
Yeah, thank you.
down in the books and many more years.
Yeah, yeah,
I know you mentioned, everything that brought you here and then your favorite late night mix. I think it's so important. Like you mentioned, this really good nugget that I think is so important for people just putting their work out there. Like, if it's fun and you're finding joy in it, it's time to take it serious if it's time to take it serious. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
the fact that you put it on yourself, like, hey, I'm going to do this every Friday. And you were like cognizant and self aware that there were some moments of inconsistency, but you obviously wanted to do it, right? But life happens. There's always stuff going on out of our control sometimes. So
Mm.
I just want to recommend for the people watching, like do it. You got to pivot, you got to do something. There's ways to put your content out there. Obviously eventually you'll get the gear, you'll get the quality cameras and all of that, but the fact that you were able to pivot and then also kind of just be like, you know what, Court, like, here you go, take the reins. Because I feel it's so important for creatives to loosen some of their control and give tasks and delegate tasks to people that are also a part of that mission.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about the fact that your favorite late night mix, like, you've really like made it a community, not only with Court, your partner, with the artists and performers. Like, how have you learned to delegate tasks with this vision that is the your favorite late night mixed community?
Yeah, it's a learning process with delegation. That's something I work on every day because I am used to being hands on and you know managing, touching, being a part of every aspect of it. But I think what's helped me with the delegation has just been realizing it's bigger than me. It has to be. There's
Mhm.
no way. Like there's it's it's not about me with your favorite late night mix. In order for it to continue to run and sustain itself, it can't be about me. So once I remove myself from it, delegation becomes easy. Once I
Mhm.
remove what it could look like for me, or what, you know, what somebody may think, what may happen. Once I remove all those, then it always becomes a lot more clear for me. So delegation has been a learning experience, but I enjoy it because it's been about, like, really, now it's an opportunity of seeing people's strengths, weaknesses, and understanding, like, how they all come together and how we all come together to create a community that helps people see
Mhm.
what's possible for themselves, through music, entertainment, and personal growth. So it's been cool. It's been great just removing myself um, from being so hands on about everything. And I've been
Yes.
grateful. I've been grateful for everybody involved. Sumo, Moon, Austin, Darian, Eat Fries, Court.
Mhm.
You know, we coming together and we making it happen. So I'm grateful for it. Damon, you know,
I love that. And
yeah,
I think that's so important because, like, you definitely grow, how do I say, like, you grow so much by yourself, and then in order to, like, elevate, you need to add more people. You
yeah,
need to add a community, Not that, your growth by yourself wasn't like, "Dang, you did a lot," but then after there comes a point where it's like, "Okay, I need some more assistance." So,
yeah.
I think that's
Mhm.
amazing. And I also wanna commend you too, because, like, you put records out. I know sometimes I know you mentioned, it's not about me, but your records, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about you, the records, Oliver Lastname, because you do a lot for the community. So let's put the spotlight on you for this moment. What
All
are
right.
some projects that you're working on when it comes to production music as Oliver Lastname? Because you deserve your flowers too.
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate it. Yeah. So I'm actually now working on some new records. I got some records I've been working on this month. On this year, just dropping one record a month. So been working on some new ones. So staying inspired with that. So that's pretty much been my main focus right now. And then I do have a project I'm working on as well. That's gonna be a full on project. And then I just released Do My Own Thing recently. So that was cool with Shakar. So pretty much, yeah, in between working on new records, but then also too putting together a body of work as well.
I love that. Y'all heard this here first. He said a record a month. Like, I can see this going crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is there like a dream collaboration? Like, if you had a magic wand and you could have that wish granted this year, is there a dream collaboration, whether it's with another producer or artist, that you would love to have?
I would say with James Blake. James Blake
Mm.
would be an incredible collaborator. That'd be incredible. That's what I've been listening to a lot of lately. Just getting back into his mind and his world again. It's been a minute since I've listened to him, so I've just been pretty much crate digging, listening to his original work from '09 and things like that, and before, just trying to get into his mind a little bit more. But yeah, James Blake for sure.
Oh, well, it's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Trust.
Oh
And
yeah.
let me know. I'll be like, remember? I'm going to cut the clip. He said
hundred
James
percent.
Blake.
100%. Hey, that's gonna happen. What up, James?
Right. Yeah.
What up,
Manifest.
James?
So we do have some time to talk about Esteem. I
Okay.
know there's a lot of projects that you put out there, your favorite late night mix, the Oliver Lastname projects, but you also have Esteem, formerly known as For People Who Love People. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and how that kind of ties in with, your mission to help people, one, be in community, love on each other, and also just like talk about some real things because there are some themes with life, like not feeling as confident, maybe not seeing people that look like you in your
Hmm.
community, or just in general not feeling inspired. So how did that come about? What do you see in the future for it? Things like that.
Yeah. It came about. as just a an opportunity to find ways for us to connect to ourselves through the entertainment that we already know and love. And it was important for me to create that uh, because I needed that myself. You know, there was a
Mm,
separation between my personal development and my entertainment. And so to find a way for us to enjoy both of them at the same time, to have healing while we have music, and to have conversation while we have dancing, um, was important for me, because it was I understood that, like, that's what I needed in those moments. Were those
mhm.
things, you know? I needed to have conversation while I was dancing. I didn't need to separate those anymore. I didn't need to be so deep in the words that I get lost in who's around me, you know.
Yeah.
And so having that was really helpful. And you know, what's next is just to continue to create more products and create more more tools, really more tools that will continue to help people have those conversations within and with their community around them.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that. I see it not only in yourself, but like in your friends and the fact that you share these resources willingly as well. That's super important. So I'm excited to see what comes up in the summertime because I know, I have a feeling you have some really cool projects coming out in the summertime.
Oh yeah,
The
summer's about to be
best time
good.
to be outside. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for that, for things to come. I do have to ask you because this is the Tu Novio, podcast, and we do talk about love.
Okay.
So only share as much as you can. I'll keep it very, very cute. But
Okay.
I have realized that partnerships, romantic partnerships, are really important.
Mm-hmm.
I recently went to this book confab, basically for authors, and these authors are like our elders. They're like 70 plus, so they definitely have lived a life. They have a lot of experiences. The ones that had their partners there with them, they were there, and a lot of them gave a lot of credit, a lot of regards to their partners for allowing them to follow their dreams, also for
Mm-hmm.
supporting them, starting businesses, starting a life, all of that. So, how important has partnership been for you as a creative?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know sometimes people are like, well, can I balance love? I want to pursue all these creative endeavors. A lot of people think it'll distract them. But I feel like a healthy, prosperous partnership actually won't be a distraction. It'll probably help you level up.
Yeah.
So, talk to me about what you think about partnerships and all of that when it comes to love.
Yeah, no, I think it's extremely important. I think for me, it really allows. I think the conversation I recently had was about just how a partnership really allows you to see how you see the other person's how you see yourself, and so
Mm,
it's always, it gives an opportunity, or how I see her is how I see myself. So it's just like it's a constant tuning of how I see her. So then I can see
mhm.
myself better. So I can see, if I see me, then I see her better. And that, you know, so it really is a lot of personal development involved just in being in a relationship, especially when you're willing to do that work on yourself and with your partner. So it's been extremely valuable for me, especially having a partner who is so understanding, willing, and creative herself, and also has things for herself that she wants to see accomplished. You know, so it creates that opportunity. Um, where it's like not only is she rooting me on, I'm rooting her on as well for what she
And we
has
see
going.
it on the camera too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
You
see it
know,
on the camera.
yeah, 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 yeah. You know, so it's cool. It's fun. I feel like, you know, and she always puts things in, like, in such layman's terms when it comes to business and ideas and stuff. So she just calls everything we're working on just a school project. So that's truly what it be feeling like. It's like we want to get an A. You know, so it's like,
Yeah.
that's simple. It's just like it doesn't feel as daunting of a task every week to make sure we have everything coordinated. It's just like this is just a part of our school project.
Right.
So it's
I love
cool.
that.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
For people watching, a right healthy relationship will definitely not be a distraction. It'll definitely elevate you, support you. So, don't be afraid to fall in love. Life happens. So definitely, be out there. You never know who you're gonna meet. I do want to ask you before we wrap up.
Mhm.
Um, so you have built this amazing community out here in LA. You are consistent. Obviously, you've had a lot of trial and error as well. What are some tips you would give to up and coming creatives or people that have this really cool idea? Maybe they're afraid to put it out there, or they are putting it out there, but they need some advice. What are some things that you wish your younger self would have told you about putting your passion out there and pretty much following your dreams?
Mm. I would say to myself or my younger self or someone else, I would say, mm, I would say make measurable progress in reasonable amount of time.
Mm,
Make measurable progress in a reasonable amount of time. I think that's the most important thing I would say to myself, my younger self, because that's really what it is. You can get lost in the doing and not so much in the progression. So I
yeah.
say really focus on um, the process more than focus on the progress more than the progression, more than the process to an extent. It's a fine line between both of them, but always make sure you're moving forward even as you're
Mhm.
working through the process.
We heard it here first, y'all. I'm excited because I feel like you definitely motivate a lot of people around you. And I've seen it obviously firsthand for people, jumping on the decks and then now they're being booked for shows or following their own passions, throwing their own parties. So I definitely think that it's important to surround yourself with people that are moving. And you're definitely someone that's moving and doing something for themselves and for their community. So you do inspire others to be like, you know what? If he can do it, I can do it too. So that's
100%.
super, super important. Before we wrap up, how can people connect with you? Where can we find your pages? What is the best way for us to stay up to date with everything, Oliver Lastname, and all your amazing projects?
Okay. Yeah, the best way to stay up to date with Oliver Lastname is right now on Instagram at I am Oliver Lastname. And then with your favorite late night mix, the best way to stay up with us is Patreon. So
Okay,
Patreon.
Patreon.
Oh yeah, patreon.com. Shout out to you, Carmen, for supporting. Patreon.com/, YFLNM radio. And that's where you're going to get all the exclusive first looks, plus some behind the scenes footage and photos, and also get the audio mix and more.
Oh yeah, and it's literally exclusive. I remember I had gotten a flyer, and I was like, "Is this who's gonna be on the lineup?" I was like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
"Yes." Well, thank you so much for being on this episode about music, love, and community. I feel like you were definitely the person that embodies all three. And I can't wait to see the amazing stuff that pops up in the summertime. I have a really good feeling about summer for everyone. And I'm really excited to see what happens. So definitely keep me posted.
Okay.
And also, you are a friend of the show. So thank you so much for inspiring me as well. I definitely feel inspired by you to like always pivot and keep it going. And I am virtual, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's
It's
happening
gonna
now.
happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
No,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, I was bragging about you earlier about how, like, I love how you just, it's going. It ain't stopping. The podcast
Yeah.
ain't stopping. It keeps moving. So I love it.
Hmm.
I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And for everyone watching, don't forget to stay up to date with us on social media, Tu Novio podcast. On the Instagram, there's a link there where you can stay tuned with all of our things as well. And thank you so much, Oliver. Thank you.
All right, Carmen.
Okay, let me.
Thank you.
Okay.